Welcome back to the Friday Football Fever Kickoff Show. Pleased to be joined by the 4 Big 12 coaches in our area to discuss all things football. Centennial's Kyle Jackson, Danville's Marcus Forrest, Central's Tim Turner, and Urbana's Curtis Blanden. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here. The season almost ready to begin. Set for kickoff. Kyle, we'll start with you. Coming off the second straight playoff appearance for your program. That hadn't happened since 2014-15. What was key to getting that turnaround, and then what's the key for success for this year for you guys?
We very much started 5 years ago now with building culture, and we said from day one that culture is going to be the most important step in anything we do. We build that culture first, everything else will follow, and we've kind of hammered on that all the way through and kept focusing on that year in, year out, and obviously some success has come with it. We've had some good kids come through the program. I've got a good coaching staff, and so it helps that they all buy in and believe in what we're doing. But again, we feel like we're doing some things right. In terms of putting that culture out there that kids want to be a part of.
Marcus, you did some things right last year. Back in the postseason, you had the Vikings for the first time since 2019. How do you carry that over to this year and get back in the postseason once again?
Well, what we've done the last couple of years is, one, the numbers have increased, and two, we've had more people buying in. And when you get more people buying in, like Coach said, you do stuff the right way, you have good things happen. And in the last 2 years, we've continually grown, gotten better, learned from tough situations, and that's what we're just looking for this next year. Continue to play hard, continue to play tough, as we've been able to do in building that culture of really playing hard and learning from those small mistakes, and hopefully you can grow on it, which kind of helps lead to sustained success.
It's been a few years since you've had your club in that postseason. What have you been building towards in that, and what are the keys for you this season?
Well, we've been a young team for the past couple of years. I've played some freshmen, I've played some sophomores, and I think that fruit's about to pay off a little bit. We've got a good group of kids that are still young, but they've got a lot of varsity experience. So I'm excited to see what this group can do. I think they're really ready to show what they're made of. In terms of, they've put in so much work. I've got 8 juniors that will be playing varsity football that have played 2 straight years, right? So I think that with that type of experience, we're really excited.
Curtis, you've been charged to tackle the turnaround at Urbana, and it is a big one at that. How is that process going? And just getting on the field, I know is a big step for you guys.
Yes, I always remind our players this is foundations. You're setting the foundation right now for years to come. We hope that you will see it come into fruition while you're there, but if not, just know that you set a foundation of a program instead of just a team.
What are the biggest challenges in that, playing a JV schedule the past few years and now jumping back into that varsity slate?
It's the numbers. Numbers for everyone as far as getting those numbers up, and the belief system in those young people to say, you know what, I have the ability, I might as well come out. But now you've eliminated excuses because varsity football is back at Urbana.
And I hear numbers from all of you, and this can be a question you guys can all answer. It's different than it was even 10 years ago, right? What are those challenges, Tim, for your program? And you mentioned that specifically just trying to get people out.
Yeah, it's just challenging because, these days there's so much other things that kids could be doing. And oftentimes they're choosing those. Our sport is a hard one, right? We ask a lot of our kids. It's a pretty demanding, pretty grueling, physically and mentally. And so, we've just got to be able to reach out to the kids that crave that, and not all people crave that. So it's just a matter of finding the right kids, staying in the halls, being positive at every turn, and I think those numbers will change.
Marcus and Kyle, is it cyclical? Do you guys see numbers going up and down? And is that a challenge in itself just to keep numbers at a high pace, even at big schools like you guys have?
I think it's a part of being cyclical. And also, I kind of look at it with COVID. The seniors this year would have been freshmen the COVID year. So, I remember going into that summer before that year, I had 107 kids. When we came back, I went through a transplant and other little things, come back and we had 34. So I think, a lot of things contributed to that. But it's about, getting kids interested, building relationships so they want to come out and play, and get them an idea to knowing that, one, it is tough, it's challenging, but you can come out and have fun and really build friendships that you'll last a lifetime. So once they understand that, they start coming out a little bit more.
Kyle, I know your numbers have really been good. What have you seen in that, maybe a case study for not just everyone here, but everyone across the state to get guys out for football?
Like I said, it all starts with culture. We try to build a culture that kids want to be a part of. We hold them accountable in the classroom. We talk about, really more of that stuff, off the field stuff, grades, how you're behaving, those kinds of things, and how much that is going to effect on the field. And if you have success there, you can have success on the field. And so we focus on that first. And I think kids, like Coach T, I think said, they want that, even if some of them don't act like they want that, right? You get them into that that routine and structure, and I think if you can get them buying in, more kids buy in, and it's a domino effect.
I've talked with you guys about this all individually at some point or another. There's athletes walking around your halls. What's that difference then to get those guys? Is it convincing them? Can you tell a kid that, hey, you should play more than one sport, and maybe they want to only play basketball or baseball or whatever that may be?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I think the biggest thing we have to do is be able to, Coach said it, have relationships, right? And once you build those relationships, then you're not just talking to a kid about playing football, you're talking to a kid about his future, right? And understanding that, and I say it to the kids all the time, if you're a basketball player and you're a great basketball player, well, your basketball coach would love to see you on the football field to see how tough you are, right? And then now you have other eyes on you as well. And so it's just a matter of getting kids to understand that the more you're seen, the more competitive you are, the more appealing you are to college coaches.
Curtis, has that been motivating for you? I know your numbers are up this year from what they were in the past. That's got to give you a little bit of juice or energy, I would assume, right, to see kids come out?
It definitely does, and as it's been, and I'll echo, it is a culture that's in the school. A lot of kids want instant gratification, and a lot of them aren't ready to go through the grueling expectations of football. But you are finding those, and I know with success and fielding these teams that more kids will come out.
What would success be for you this year, Kirk?
Success would be that we get better each game, that we're not the same that we were the game before. Kids learn more and more and more about football, also about themselves, because we're trying to have student athletes, just not athletes.
Sure. What about you, Coach?
Yeah, success for us would be just our team bond, right? Like I've got a lot of kids that have grown up together. So success for us looks like having a great year on the field, and win, loss doesn't much matter. What I want to make sure is every single game we play, these coaches walk off the field saying that's a good football team. That's a well played game, right? Like that's a well coached football team, and understand that they're in a ball game, right? Big 12 is a tough conference, and I want to make sure that our program lives up to that and gives these guys good games every time we see them.
And Marcus and Kyle, once you've been to the playoffs and you guys have had long-standing traditions in your program, how much does that have to feel success to go even further and take your program to the next level?
Yeah, I think it's, as you continue to have success, the pressure grows, and there's more of a target on your back and more of an expectation there as well. So, but I think our guys are ready for that. I think our guys know that. That's something that they've talked about amongst themselves. We have a leadership council that every year that sets goals at the beginning of the year, and so some of our goals are, we want to get back to that conference championship and try to win it this year, amongst other things. There's a GPA goal. We've got goals that kind of span the spectrum there a little bit. But to me, I think what it boils down to is what these guys have already said is, as long as we're getting better every week, those are goals that we want to chase. But as long as we're getting better every week, that's what we're after.
Marcus, what about for you?
I mean, it's just that same thing, being competitive and getting better each week. When we feel like we're competitive, we do the right things. Some games you're going to win, some games you're going to lose. As long as we play hard and we have the respect of the teams we play, we know we're doing the things the right way and taking care of stuff in the classroom. One of the best things I was happy about last year is I didn't have a varsity kid ineligible all year. And that was one of the first times that happened in almost 20 years. So that means we're actually holding them accountable, doing the things that we were supposed to be doing, both academically and then holding them accountable athletically so that they see what they're supposed to do. And then, one of the things I really enjoy is we have alumni that come back. And that's kind of helping us build the culture. It's a little different than, maybe 10 years ago, but I want to make sure I welcome them back. Not only just, like Julian Pearl and Caleb Griffin, but I had a guy, Terry Thomas. He played in the 80s and went to Northwestern. He's someone I kind of welcome back. And I want them to kind of help build the culture so that they not only see what we're doing on the field, but then that success is the community coming together and being behind them also.
A couple quick hitters here. Give me a few names to watch out for this year we're going to see on our highlights of Friday Football Fever. Start with you, Kyle.
Kellen Davis, Kodiak Pruitt, Jack Barnhart.
Awesome. Maurice?
Javon Robinson, Diddy, Caleb Robinson, Phil Shaw, Darius J. So we got a couple.
All right. What about you, Tim?
George Rouse, Ronald Baker, touchdown maker.
Hey, we got some good nicknames
Yeah,
here.
I gotta love it. You'll hear Aiden Walker a lot, Dawson Caldwell. We've got a good group of kids.
What about you, Kurt?
Be Jadon Riggs, Kyrie Hillsman, Dominic Dye, Sorrell, Darrow, CJ Blanden. There's a couple of them.
Okay, all right. I like these nicknames too. I'll have to get those in the show. Diddy too. That's a tough name to live up to there. And Big 12's going to be tough every single year. How do you guys see that shaping up here this year?
I think it's going to be about like it is most years. It's a tough conference. Anything can happen on a Friday night between any two teams in the conference, in my opinion. It's one of the best in the league, and it's going to continue to be one of the best in the league.
You guys have got
Or in the state, I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that. I think, I love the Big 12 because each year the teams that are the best in the Big 12 seem to make some kind of run in the state tournament. And so you know who you are each week in and week out. You're playing the best, and so you've got to prepare that way so that when you do make when you do make it into the playoffs, you're really ready because you've played some of the best teams in the state already.
How do you guys feel overall as we wrap up here about the Big 12 conference? All this conference shake-up, realignment starts really in college and works its way down. Is the Big 12 healthy, and where does it go from here to take those next steps? Marcus, you've been, I guess, here the longest, one of them. Yeah. We'll start with you with that.
I believe it's really healthy, it's growing, it's competitive. That's one of the best things. And like Coach said, not only is it competitive, it prepares you for the postseason. We know one of the things that, for us that we always have to know not only the teams in our area, but also the Bloomington normal schools, the Peoria schools. Those are teams that, they have numbers and they make deep runs because they have athletes. So we know if we're in that level that we're able to compete with them, that gives us opportunity to believe that we can compete with anybody in the state.
Just got to score enough points with Peoria.
That's always
always the MO on them. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck this season.